Okay, as you go through this this presentation video here on your worksheet, check your answers. If they're not working right, if you have them wrong, go ahead and fix them. So number one, it says you have magnesium chlorate. So again, the rule that you follow is for each part of the compound, write down the symbol. So magnesium is Mg. Chlorate is polyatomic, so from your list it's ClO3 minus 1. Magnesium oxidation number is +2. Since these do not add to 0, we're going to have to cross. So the 2 comes down behind the chlorate, the 1 will come over here. So the 2 is here, the 1 comes here. So once again, we don't write number 1s ever. And then we have ClO3. We also have to have 2 of them. And we need 2 complete ClO3s, so that means we're going to put it in parentheses for that one. For this one, we have aluminum hydroxide. So the symbol for aluminum is Al. Its oxidation number is +3. Hydroxide, polyatomic, OH, -1. Once again, they don't add to 0, so we're going to cross. The 3's come in here. The 1 will come over here. So we will have aluminum with a 1 we don't write. We have OH, and we have to have 3 of them. So we need 3 complete units, so it'd be in parentheses. Polyatomics always go in parentheses if you have more than one group of them. So aluminum hydroxide, AlOH3 in parentheses. For this one, we have chromium 3 sulfate. Symbol for chromium is Cr. Now, we know it's going to be plus because it's the first, and the Roman numeral 3 says that we have a +3. Sulfate is SO4 -2 from your list. So once again, they don't add to 0. So the 3 is going to move down here. The 2 will move over here behind the chromate. So what we have now is Cr2 SO4 with a 3 outside it, but since it's polyatomic, we have to have a parenthesis around it. So chromium 3 sulfate. So in this one we have ammonium and bromide. Remember the "ide" ending always means element. So ammonium is NH4 +1. Bromide is the element bromine, so it's Br, and it's a -1. Now in this case, they add to 0. So we just put the 2 parts together, NH4 Br. They add to 0. You just stick the 2 halves of the compound together. On this one we have hydrogen chlorate. So we have H, hydrogen is +1, chlorate is ClO3 -1. Once again, these add to 0. +1 -1 add to 0, so we just basically stick the 2 halves together. So we have H, ClO3, hydrogen chlorate. Here we have potassium carbonate. Symbol for potassium is K +1. Oxidation number carbonate is CO3 -2. So here we have a situation where +1 -2 don't add to 0. So the 1 is going to come down here. The 2 will come down here behind the potassium. Okay, so when we put them together, now we have K CO3. Now 1 we don't need to write, and since there's only one unit of CO3 we don't have to have a parenthesis around it. So it just stays as K2CO3. Number 7, we have antimony sulfide. I don't believe antimony was on your list, but the symbol, you can look it up on the periodic table, is Sb. And it would be an oxidation number of +3. The "ide" ending, again, equals element. We're talking an element here. So sulfur, and sulfur is -2. So here we have a cross situation because they don't add to 0. So the 3 is going to come down here. The 2 will come behind the antimony. So when we put them together, we have antimony, Sb, 2s3. Takes 2 atoms of antimony to 3 atoms of sulfur. On number 8, we have calcium phosphate. Symbol for calcium is Ca. Its oxidation number is +2. Phosphate is PO4 -3. So again, we're going to have to cross because they don't add to 0. So the 2 has to come down here. The 3 is going to come back around the calcium. So when we put them together now, clean it up a little bit, we got Ca3 PO4. We have 2 units, so that means we have to put that in parentheses. Number 9, we have bismuth carbonate. So the symbol for bismuth is Bi. It's going to be plus, what is it? I have to look this one up myself. Would be +3. The "ide" ending, I think I said carbonate, but it's chloride, so that means we have an element. That's chlorine, that's Cl -1. So once again, we're going to have to cross. The 3 would come down here. The 1 comes over here. So when we clean it up, we have Bi. We don't need to write a 1 ever, but we do need to have Cl with 3 after it as a subscript. Okay. So here we have potassium iodine. So the INE ending also means element. Ide and ein mean elements, so we have K for potassium +1. Iodine is I -1. They add to 0. Since they add to 0, we just can stick the 2 together. Ki, potassium iodine. On number 11, we have magnesium sulfate. So the symbol for magnesium is Mg. We know that it's +2. Sulfate is polyatomic. 8 is usually a signal for a polyatomic, so it would be SO4 -2. Get the pen to work. They add to 0. +2 -2 add to 0, so we just stick the 2 halves together. So we have Mg SO4. 12, we have iron 3 oxide. And again, the ide is a signal for an element. So iron is Fe. You know it's going to be plus, and the Roman numeral tells us which one, +3. Oxygen is O, and it's -2. So again, since the -2 and +3 don't add to 0, we have to cross. So the 3 will be here. The 2 comes down behind the iron. So when we clean it up, we have Fe2O3. On number 13, we have potassium nitrate. So potassium is K +1. nitrate polyatomic, NO3 minus 1, plus 1 minus 1, add to 0, so we just put these two together, K, NO3. Number 14, we have calcium fluoride. And again, the ide is an element clue, so we know we have calcium, which is plus 2, fluorine, which is F, minus 1. So we don't add to 0, so we know the 2 is going to have to come down here. The 1 will cross over to here. So when we clean it up, we have Ca, we don't need to write 1, and F2. And then finally, the last one we have here is zinc sulfate. So zinc is plus 2, sulfate is polyatomic, so SO4 minus 2. They add to 0. So we just need to stick these two together, ZnSO4. Okay, and so what you want to do is check yours. If you didn't quite follow the way I did it, I would suggest you start working it out like I do so that you don't go wrong. You may need an extra piece of paper, but from there I think you should be able to do this.